Want to know how a Sigma female really gets revenge on a toxic ex? It's not about drama or confrontation. Imagine them watching you build an incredible, unstoppable new life, totally oblivious to the silent power moves you're making. I'm revealing 9 Sigma strategies your ex will never see coming. Get ready to redefine revenge. So, today's video is about something deep, not the kind of revenge that's loud or messy, the kind that's quiet, strategic, and hits harder than words ever could. When a Sigma female gets hurt, she doesn't chase closure, she creates it, and that's what makes her different from everyone else. Toxic relationships leave scars you can't see. They drain your energy, twist your emotions, and make you question your worth. You give your best, and somehow, that still isn't enough for them. Sound familiar? But here's the thing. Sigma females don't stay broken. They study their pain. They analyze what went wrong. And when they rise again, it's with a whole new mindset. That's where the real revenge begins. Let's go. 1. She disappears without a trace. A Sigma female disappears without a trace, and that's her first move of silent power. When she decides she's done, she doesn't announce it. She doesn't warn anyone. She doesn't write long messages trying to explain her side of the story. She just fades. Completely. It's like she was never there, but her absence burns stronger than her presence ever did. She knows that engaging in chaos only feeds it, and a toxic ex thrives on reaction. So she gives them nothing, no reaction, no energy, no closure. Just silence. And that silence, it hits like thunder in their mind. They start wondering what happened, why she stopped talking, if she's mad, if she met someone new. But a Sigma female doesn't leave because she wants attention. She leaves because she's protecting her peace. She understands that some people are addicted to control, and the best way to destroy that control is to stop giving them access. When a Sigma female disappears, it's not running away. It's reclaiming her power. She doesn't need to prove a point. She becomes the point. Every unread message, every ignored call becomes a mirror showing the other person their own emptiness. Her silence is not weakness, it's mastery. It's the kind of calm that drives a toxic ex insane because they can't manipulate what they can't reach. And the truth is, Sigma females don't do goodbyes because goodbyes are for people who still care. She already detached long before she left. By the time she walks away, she's emotionally gone, mentally untouchable, spiritually elevated. She knows exactly what she's doing. She deletes old photos, clears old messages, and doesn't stalk their profile like most people do. She knows closure doesn't come from them. It comes from herself. And when she goes quiet, her ex starts hearing their own guilt louder than ever before. They replay every conversation, every argument, every moment they thought they had control. But it's gone. The power dynamic flipped. The Sigma female is no longer the one waiting for answers. She's the question they can't stop thinking about. That's her revenge. Quiet, clean, unapologetic. She doesn't post sad quotes or cryptic captions. She doesn't need to prove she's moved on. She is moved on. Her silence speaks confidence. Her disappearance screams boundaries. And even though no one sees her process, she's out there rebuilding, reading, healing, evolving. While her ex is wondering where she went, she's already 3 steps ahead, too focused on her future to care about her past. That's the thing about Sigma females. They never leave for drama. They leave for peace. They don't announce what they're doing because people who know their worth don't explain it. When a Sigma female disappears, she's not trying to make someone miss her. She's making sure she never misses herself again. That's her closure. That's her comeback. That's how a Sigma female ends a toxic story, with absolute silence and total self-respect. 2. She protects what's hers. A Sigma female protects what's hers, and that doesn't just mean her things. It means her mind, her peace, her soul, her energy. After dealing with a toxic ex, she learns the hard way that not everyone deserves access to her world, so she locks it down. She becomes selective about who gets to be close. She no longer entertains half-hearted love or fake apologies. Once she's been burned, she builds walls not to hide, but to protect her inner calm. Sigma females guard their peace like it's gold, because it is. They know how draining it is to give your best to someone who only takes, manipulates, or plays mind games. So the next time, she doesn't repeat the mistake. She watches, she observes, she keeps her circle small and her standards high. She doesn't overshare, doesn't tell people her plans, doesn't post every move she makes. Silence becomes her armor, privacy her power. A Sigma female doesn't argue to prove her worth. She lets her energy do the talking. When someone crosses her boundaries, she doesn't lose control. She simply removes herself. She knows that her peace is not up for negotiation. People might call her cold or detached, but she's just protecting what she worked too hard to rebuild. Once a Sigma female has healed, she doesn't risk that healing for anyone. She's seen what happens when she lets the wrong person in. It's chaos, confusion, and emotional exhaustion. So now, she guards her energy like a queen guarding her throne. She doesn't chase validation because she's learned the only validation that matters is her own. When she protects her peace, she's not being selfish. She's being smart, because peace is rare, and people who have it know its value. Toxic exes hate that kind of growth. They hate that she no longer reacts to their manipulation, that she doesn't care enough to fight. But that's the point. She's unreachable to emotional chaos. She doesn't attend every argument she's invited to. She doesn't answer messages that disturb her calm. Protecting what's hers means cutting off what doesn't serve her. She'll block, delete, ignore, whatever it takes to keep her life balanced. And it's not out of anger, it's out of maturity. She knows love isn't supposed to drain you, it's supposed to ground you. So she stops accepting anything that costs her peace. Sigma females understand that true power comes from restraint. It's the ability to walk away from anything that threatens your mental clarity. When she protects her energy, she's not building walls, she's building standards, and those standards become her filter. Only real, grounded people make it through. Everyone else, they're just noise. So when her ex tries to come back, acting like nothing happened, she doesn't fall for it. She's too evolved to let history repeat itself. Her peace is sacred, her silence is sacred, and that's her revenge, living unbothered, untouched, and absolutely at peace with herself. All right, Sigma females, real talk. If you've ever had to protect your peace after someone hurt you, drop a diamond in the comments. And hey, hit that like button if you're all about guarding your energy. Now, let's see what comes next. 3. She keeps the receipts. A Sigma female keeps the receipts, but not in the petty, drama-filled way most people think. She doesn't screenshot messages to expose anyone or gossip about what happened. No, a Sigma female keeps mental receipts, emotional records of every red flag she ignored, every lie she caught but forgave, every manipulation she tolerated when she shouldn't have. She remembers, but not because she's bitter. She remembers so she never falls for the same pattern twice. See, a toxic ex counts on you forgetting. They count on you being too soft, too forgiving, too hopeful. But a Sigma female learns. She studies people like a book and remembers every page that hurt her. When she walks away, she carries those lessons quietly, like invisible armor. She doesn't need revenge because she's already won by becoming too smart to ever be played again. Sigma females don't delete memories. They archive them. Not for holding grudges, but for awareness. Every time someone tries to manipulate her, she recognizes the pattern instantly because she's seen it before. She doesn't react emotionally anymore. She responds with calm detachment. That's the difference between her and the rest. She's not naive now. Her silence is informed. Her distance is intentional. Keeping the receipts gives her emotional clarity. It reminds her of who she used to be and how far she's come. It's her personal map of growth. She can look back and say, yeah, that's where I lost myself. And that's where I took myself back. Toxic exes hate that because they thrive on confusion and forgetfulness. They want you to believe their version of the story, but a Sigma female knows the truth too well to be gaslit again. She has mental proof. The tone they used, the promises they broke, the manipulation they tried. So when they try to come back with fake apologies, she's not moved. She doesn't argue or explain. She doesn't need closure because she already wrote the ending in her mind. She forgave herself for ignoring the signs, and that's all the closure she needed. The receipts aren't about revenge. They're about wisdom. She uses them to protect herself from repeating cycles. It's emotional self-defense. She keeps them so she never lowers her standards again, so she never excuses someone's disrespect again. And when someone new tries to get close, she's cautious, not because she's broken, but because she's aware of how love can turn into control, aware of how kindness can be used against you. That awareness is her superpower. She no longer gives blind trust. She gives earned trust, and that shift changes everything. A Sigma female doesn't get fooled twice. Once she sees your pattern, you're done. She won't expose you, but she'll silently remove you. That's the part people don't understand. She's not vengeful. She's prepared. Keeping the receipts means she's always one step ahead, emotionally armed, and impossible to manipulate ever again. 4. She rebuilds her empire. A Sigma female rebuilds her empire piece by piece, in silence. After the wreckage of a toxic relationship, when everything feels shattered, her trust, her peace, her confidence, she doesn't stay down for long. She takes her time, she studies the damage, and then she starts rebuilding from the ground up. No drama, no announcements, just quiet progress. That's her revenge, becoming someone so whole, her past can't even recognize her anymore. While a toxic ex is still talking, still pretending to be the victim, the Sigma female is out there reinventing her entire life. She pours all that pain into purpose. Every heartbreak becomes fuel. Every insult becomes motivation. Every betrayal becomes another brick in her empire. She channels her energy into growth, learning new things, focusing on her goals, working out, upgrading her mindset. She doesn't post about it because she's not looking for validation. She's too busy becoming the woman she needed when she was broken. Sigma females don't rebuild for attention. They rebuild because they refuse to let anyone be the reason they fall apart. She knows her worth now, and she's not waiting for anyone to see it. She invests in herself, emotionally, mentally, and sometimes even financially. Her glow-up isn't a performance, it's a lifestyle. While her ex wonders if she's still hurting, she's out there chasing her dreams, building new connections, and laughing again. That's what scares them the most. Not that she's angry, but that she's thriving without them. Sigma females never return to old ruins. They build new kingdoms. She upgrades her life so silently that by the time anyone notices, it's already too late to catch up. The same person who once doubted her now watches her rise like a storm, unstoppable and untouchable. But it's not about proving anything. It's about peace. Rebuilding her empire is her way of saying, "You didn't break me. You just redirected me." And that shift, it's powerful. She starts loving herself differently, not out of ego, but out of survival. She understands now that her energy is sacred and that the right people will add to it, not drain it. She becomes intentional with her time, her circle, her energy. She doesn't chase, she attracts. She doesn't beg, she decides. She doesn't compete, she creates. And when people from her past try to reappear, acting like they always believed in her, she smiles politely but never lets them in again. They don't deserve front row seats to the empire they tried to burn down. A Sigma female rebuilds with elegance, patience, and strategy. She's not in a rush because she knows real strength takes time. And by the time she's done, she's not just healed, she's transformed. Her empire isn't built from revenge, it's built from resilience. And that's the kind of comeback no toxic ex can ever recover from. Whoa, can we just appreciate how powerful that is? Sigma females, if you're out here rebuilding your life and leveling up every day, smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss more strategies like this. Trust me, you're gonna want to see the next moves. 5. She flaunts her wins like armor. A Sigma female flaunts her wins like armor, not out of vanity, but out of survival. Every victory she earns becomes a quiet declaration that she made it out alive. After a toxic relationship, she knows what it feels like to be underestimated, gaslighted, and made to doubt her own worth. So now, every success, big or small, is a reminder that she didn't just survive, she thrived. When a Sigma female starts winning, she doesn't brag. She doesn't need to. Her energy speaks before she does. People feel it when she walks into a room. The confidence, the calm, the control. That's what happens when you've been through hell and refuse to stay there. Her wins are personal, they're sacred. She doesn't achieve things to make her ex jealous, but she knows it happens anyway. The same person who once said she couldn't do better is now watching her do exactly that, without saying a single word. That's poetic justice. Sigma females understand that the best revenge is success, but not just surface-level success. It's internal peace, emotional stability, and self-respect. She knows that looking happy online means nothing if you're miserable inside. So she focuses on real achievements, the kind that change her life for good. Maybe it's starting a new business, getting that promotion, or simply waking up every day not needing anyone's approval. Whatever it is, she wears it like armor. Her achievements protect her from ever doubting herself again. Every time someone told her she wasn't enough, she turned it into fuel. Every time she was manipulated, she learned emotional intelligence. And now, every win she flaunts isn't arrogance, it's awareness. She knows how far she's come. She remembers the nights she cried quietly, trying to understand why love hurt so much. And now, she smiles because she finally understands. She was never the problem. Her growth is her proof. And when her ex sees her glowing, laughing, and succeeding, it stings in silence. They realize they didn't break her, they built her. Sigma females don't compete for attention, they command it naturally. They don't need validation because their life already speaks for itself. And when they share their wins, it's not to prove anything, it's to inspire other women who've been where they were. She becomes a walking symbol of what happens when you stop chasing and start becoming. Her wins are her closure, her progress is her statement. And while some people might think she's showing off, she's really just celebrating herself, something she was never allowed to do before. A Sigma female flaunts her wins like armor because it reminds her she's unstoppable. Every milestone says, I made it without you. Every smile says, I healed myself. Every step forward says, I'm not coming back. And that's the power of a Sigma female. She turns every wound into a weapon and every win into a shield. Her glow-up isn't revenge, it's redemption. 6. She heals so deep. It's unrecognizable. A Sigma female heals so deep it's unrecognizable, and that's where true power shows. After experiencing toxicity, heartbreak, or betrayal, most people try to patch the wound with distractions, shallow connections, or temporary fixes. But a Sigma female does it differently. She doesn't rush. She doesn't mask her pain with fake smiles or endless social media posts. She faces it head-on, alone if she has to, because she knows that healing is a personal journey. She dives into her emotions, examines every feeling, and understands where it came from. She reflects on the mistakes, the red flags, the times she gave too much without reciprocity, and instead of blaming herself or anyone else endlessly, she extracts lessons. She understands that pain is temporary, but wisdom is permanent. Sigma females invest in themselves in ways others might not see. They read, they meditate, they journal, they take long walks thinking about what they want, not what they lost. Every tear becomes part of the purification process, every moment of solitude a reset button for her mind. She doesn't chase validation or pity. She doesn't seek to prove that she's healed. Instead, she focuses on rebuilding her emotional structure from the inside out. Her aura changes. People notice it without understanding it. It's not just that she's calmer or more confident. It's that she's impenetrable. She has rebuilt her boundaries so strongly that toxicity bounces off her. She laughs louder, loves smarter, and moves faster because the old pain no longer weighs her down. Her ex may see her and barely recognize her. The woman they thought they broke is now elevated beyond their reach. And that's the silent revenge, showing up in the world whole, peaceful, untouchable. Her healing isn't linear. There are days she still feels the sting, moments she recalls the manipulation, nights when the memories whisper, but instead of letting them control her, she transforms them into insight. She knows why she was drawn in, why she stayed too long, and what signals to never ignore again. That self-awareness becomes armor. Sigma females don't just heal to survive, they heal to thrive. They reclaim their energy, their focus, and their joy. And they do it quietly, without announcements or public displays. People might see her confidence and think it happened overnight, but they don't see the hours of reflection, the nights of self-talk, the work it took to reclaim herself. Healing so deep it's unrecognizable means she doesn't just look different, she feels different. Her priorities, her values, her perspective on life, love, and trust shift entirely. She becomes untouchable, not because she's building walls, but because she's elevated beyond the reach of what once hurt her. That's the magic of a Sigma female. She doesn't need to show her power. She embodies it. Her glow, her energy, her calmness are the revenge no toxic ex can ever understand or counter. Every step she takes forward is a statement. She's not broken, she's reborn, and she's unstoppable. Take a second, Sigma females. If you've ever had a glow-up after heartbreak, comment below "Glow-up Queen" and show some love to your fellow warriors. And don't forget to subscribe if you're vibing with this content. Now, let's check out the next way Sigma females take silent control. 7. She turns her pain into art. A Sigma female turns her pain into art. And it's not just about painting or writing. It's about how she channels every ounce of what hurt her into something powerful, creative, and unforgettable. After being hurt, she doesn't waste energy whining or complaining. Instead, she transforms her experiences into expression. Every heartbreak, betrayal, and insult becomes raw material for her next masterpiece, whether that's literally a piece of art, music, poetry, or the way she builds her life. She understands that pain has value only when it teaches her, molds her, and allows her to grow. So she uses it. She doesn't escape the pain or bury it. She acknowledges it, accepts it, and turns it into something tangible, something that reflects strength. It could be a project she dedicates herself to, a career she pursues with new intensity, or even the way she carries herself with confidence and grace. Every action, every decision, every bold move becomes a brushstroke in her personal canvas. Sigma females know that suffering can either break you or make you remarkable, and they always choose the latter. They don't let the toxicity of others define them. Instead, they take those toxic experiences and shape them into lessons, symbols, or creations that speak to their resilience. They become storytellers through action. Their life itself becomes a narrative that communicates strength without needing to explain it. A Sigma female doesn't make her art for recognition. She makes it for herself first, for the healing it brings, and for the power it gives her over the past. Every time she creates, she reclaims control over what was stolen from her, her peace, her confidence, her joy. Her ex might notice the change, but they won't understand it. They'll see the results. Maybe a thriving business, a social presence, a beautiful piece of work, but they won't see the late nights, the tears, the self-reflection that went into it. That's intentional. She doesn't create to prove anything to them. She creates because she needs to survive, to thrive, and to transform herself. Her creativity becomes a statement of independence, a visible symbol of her autonomy and strength. Through art, she processes emotions in a way words alone cannot capture. She learns to embrace her complexity, her scars, and her intensity. Turning pain into art also allows her to inspire others without preaching, without making noise, without drama. People who encounter her work, her presence, or her life story feel the energy, the lessons, the resilience. They don't need explanations, they sense her power. That's what makes Sigma females different. They don't just survive pain. They sculpt it, refine it, and project it as proof of their evolution, The person who once tried to break her now witnesses her growth and power, not through confrontation, but through undeniable presence. Her art, her life, and her accomplishments are her ultimate revenge, elegant, unshakable, and eternal. Every creative act is a declaration that she owns her story and refuses to let anyone else rewrite it. 8. She forgives, but never forgets. A Sigma female forgives, but never forgets, and that's a level of power most people never understand. Forgiveness for her is not about excusing the wrongs or pretending they didn't happen. She doesn't let toxic behavior slide because it makes her feel nice or because she hopes the other person will change. Forgiveness is for her own peace, not for anyone else. It's a conscious choice to release the hold that the past has on her emotions so she can move forward without dragging bitterness behind her. But never forgetting is where the real strategy lies. A Sigma female keeps the lessons, the warnings, and the memories etched into her mind. She remembers the manipulation, the lies, the broken promises, and the emotional games. Not to dwell, not to punish, but to protect herself from repeating history. She knows that memory is power. Forgetting too much can make you vulnerable, but remembering without anger makes you untouchable. She forgives to free herself from the chains of resentment, but she never forgets, because forgetting would mean lowering her guard and risking her hard-won peace. Forgiveness allows her to sleep at night without tossing and turning over past mistakes. Never forgetting allows her to walk in the world with clarity, knowing exactly who she is, what she stands for, and what she will no longer tolerate. Sigma females are masters of emotional intelligence. They analyze situations, recognize toxic patterns, and keep mental receipts for anyone who tries to cross them again. They don't expose people publicly or seek revenge in obvious ways. Instead, they internalize the lessons and adjust their boundaries accordingly. Their power comes from knowing their worth and refusing to let anyone diminish it again. When someone who once hurt them tries to return, the Sigma female doesn't react impulsively. She evaluates, she decides, and she maintains her peace. Forgiving but not forgetting ensures that she never loses control over herself again. She has learned to separate emotion from action, to process hurt without letting it dictate her behavior. That skill makes her untouchable, calm in storms that would shake anyone else. Her ex might expect anger, tears, or confrontation, but the Sigma female responds with composed indifference because she's already healed internally. She doesn't need to prove anything, and she doesn't need to seek validation. Her forgiveness is silent, her memory sharp, and her boundaries firm. This combination creates a magnetic presence that cannot be manipulated. The past does not weigh her down, it shapes her. She becomes a woman who has endured, learned, and emerged stronger. Every decision she makes, every interaction she chooses, reflects that inner wisdom. And that's the ultimate statement to anyone who ever doubted her. She can forgive, she can move on, but she will never be vulnerable to the same pain twice. That's the strength of a Sigma female. She forgives to live freely and remembers to survive brilliantly, walking forward with unmatched confidence and resilience. 9. She becomes unreachable. A Sigma female becomes unreachable, and that's the final, unshakable form of her power. After enduring toxicity, heartbreak, and manipulation, she evolves into someone completely untouchable, not physically but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. She no longer reacts to petty games, emotional blackmail, or empty promises. The energy that once drew her into chaos is now protected and reserved for what truly matters: her growth, her peace, and her life. When a Sigma female decides to be unreachable, she does it with intention. She doesn't respond to every call, every message, or every attempt to pull her back into old patterns. She knows that accessibility invites disruption, and disruption is the enemy of clarity. She focuses on her own journey, setting boundaries so firm that no one can cross them without permission. Her ex may try to manipulate, guilt, or charm her into old dynamics, but she's evolved beyond that. The woman they once knew is gone. In her place is someone elevated, grounded, and untouchable. Her unreachable state is not arrogance, it's survival. Sigma females understand the value of their energy. They no longer spend it on people who have already proven they don't deserve it. They protect themselves by becoming selective in their relationships, choosing only connections that respect their peace, nurture their growth, and honor their boundaries. This creates an aura of power that others immediately sense. People notice it, even if they can't explain why. The Sigma female moves through life with calm confidence, and that inaccessibility is magnetic. She doesn't chase, she doesn't plead, she doesn't compromise her well-being to gain approval. Her unreachability is a shield, but also a statement. She is not defined by anyone else's presence or absence. It's the ultimate silent revenge. Her ex may watch, trying to understand, trying to find a crack to slip through, but there isn't one. Every attempt to disturb her peace fails because she's already gone beyond the influence of toxicity. The unreachable Sigma female invests in herself, her future, and her joy. She cultivates skills, experiences, and connections that make her life rich and fulfilling. She doesn't look back, not because she's cold, but because she values what lies ahead more than what's behind. And that forward momentum makes her untouchable. She's unshakable because she's self-aware, self-reliant, and self-sufficient. Her life is a fortress built on wisdom, experience, and emotional intelligence. No ex, no toxic influence, no manipulation can penetrate it. People may try, but they fail silently, realizing too late that she has moved far beyond their reach. This unreachability is not isolation, it's empowerment. It's her way of saying, I survived, I healed, I became stronger than you could ever imagine. Sigma females don't need revenge because their life, their presence, and their peace are the ultimate answers. They exist as proof that toxicity cannot hold them back. Their evolution, their calm, and their success speak louder than any confrontation ever could. When a Sigma female becomes unreachable, she isn't just gone. She's transcended, untouchable, and fully herself. That's the final, ultimate statement. She's untouchable, unstoppable, and entirely hers. I once heard about a Sigma female who was shattered by someone she trusted, someone she had believed in, someone she had given her energy, time, and heart to, only to be let down in ways that cut deeper than she ever imagined. She could have yelled, begged, or tried to make him understand, but that wasn't her style. Instead, she chose silence, the kind of silence that carries weight and speaks louder than any argument ever could. She didn't engage in drama or chase closure. She simply stepped back and focused on herself. Every day, she poured her energy into understanding her pain, examining what went wrong, and figuring out how to ensure it never happened again. She used the hurt as fuel to rebuild herself from the inside out. A year later, she had completely transformed. She had launched her own business, something that was fully hers, built from her creativity, her ideas, and her resilience. Her life was no longer defined by someone else's actions or approval. It was a reflection of her own strength and independence. She had found peace, not just on the surface, but deep inside, in every thought, every decision, and every moment of her day. Her glow became noticeable, not the superficial kind, but the kind that comes from self-respect, confidence, and inner power. People around her couldn't ignore it. Even strangers could feel it, and those who knew her before could hardly recognize her. When her ex eventually tried to reach out again, expecting an apology, an explanation, or some emotional reaction, she didn't even respond. Not because she hated him, not because she wanted to punish him, but because she had outgrown the version of herself that ever needed his validation, his attention, or his approval. That version of herself no longer existed, replaced by someone wiser, stronger, and untouchable. That's real power, a power that doesn't need to prove itself or perform for anyone. It's quiet, self-contained, and unshakable. Sigma revenge isn't about payback, it's about transformation, about taking every bit of pain and turning it into growth, into a stronger, more confident version of yourself. She didn't seek to hurt anyone. She simply became someone so strong, so self-sufficient, and so grounded in her own worth that her ex's relevance disappeared entirely. The past no longer held sway over her, and any attempt to disturb her peace failed silently. If you're that kind of woman, the one who turned her pain into power, share your story in the comments, because your experience might be exactly what another Sigma female needs to hear tonight. And if this resonates with you, share it with your girl squad or that one friend who's still on her healing journey. Stay silent, stay focused, stay powerful, and remember that your revenge isn't about confrontation or drama. It's about living your life so fully, so unapologetically, and so well that the people who tried to hurt you have no place in it. Your revenge is already in motion, not through their suffering, but through your unstoppable growth, your inner strength, and the life you are building every single day.